Welcome friends to the another lecture on construction economics and finance. So in the previous lecture, in the entire lecture series and in the previous, we have seen that the types of construction industries and how the economics and finance are being associated with the construction industry. And we have also seen that how construction industry is majorly contributing in the development of in economy as far as the GDP is concerned. So how we are contributing, how the construction industry is contributing in the economic growth of the country that we have seen. Along with that types of industry we have seen. Today, a very important factor that is factors of production. What are the factors on which it is dependent on, and what are that four factors we will discuss. Okay, I am giving you a hint initially. So as usual, before starting the lecture, I would like to introduce myself. I am Professor Amey Khedikar, working in the Department of Civil Engineering at Tulsiramji Gaikwad-Patil College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur. So, as I pronounce the factor of productions. So, production may be of anything. Production may be of any manufacturing unit. Production may be of any thing, any machine, machineries, manufacturing plant, units, hubs, etc. So there are a lot of factors which are directly and indirectly dependent on some factors. Okay, so in the beginning we will see the objective of this lecture. Okay, so we'll define first the factors of production. What are the factors? I have given you a hint, four factors. What are the four factors and how they are directly and indirectly associated, or how that factors define the productivity? Then we will see, then we will identify based on the work, based on the type of functioning, then payment methods, how that is executed, and then we'll classify the on basis of that. Okay, so we'll begin. So what are the factors of production? Factors of production are the resources used to produce goods and services. Factors of production are the resources. For example, let us have an example. I need to print my documents. To print my documents, I must have some inputs: computer, my documents, and printer. So in this case, printer is my resource which is used to produce my documents. Okay, and the resource is also called as inputs, as I discussed. For example, I need to go from this place to another place, so need to have the vehicle. I need to have some bike, car, some taxi. So that is something input. Okay, so once again I will repeat the example. For example, I would like to have printout. So for printouts I need to have a printer. So printer is the basic input required, resource required to finish the activity. Okay, so factors of productions are the resources available, sometimes HR, sometimes labor, sometimes technical labor, manpower, human resource, okay, to produce goods, machineries, factories, and the relevant services. Okay, these resources are also called as inputs. Now, how many factors of production? How many? Two to three times I have discussed in last 5 minutes. There are four important factors of production. Very important, four, in which the entire productivity of any industry is directly or indirectly, means directly it is being associated or it is dependent on the four factors. So what are the four factors that we'll see? The first one is land, then labor, then capital, and finally the enterprises, entrepreneurship. So before moving further, I will give you an example to understand these all four parameters. Let's imagine that you need to build your own house. Okay, but you don't have a land. Where you will build your house? If you don't have a land, if you don't have a plot, so where you will build your home? Same in the case of industry. If you want to establish your firm, if you don't have a land, then where you will establish? That's the production. That is the factor which is ultimately affecting most production. Okay, let us have another case. If I'm having my land, my plot to build my house, I'm having it, but I don't have a labor, and who will execute the work? I'm having labor, then who will execute the work? In another case, I will have land, labor, but I don't have investment, I don't have the capital, I don't have the money. Is it possible to construct a home or even to establish a firm or industry? Not possible. And finally, enterprises, or entrepreneurship. That means I don't have anybody to execute my work. I don't have anybody. We don't have anybody to execute the work. We don't have anybody to take the work and to execute. So all these factors, land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship, are equally responsible to have impact on the production. Now we'll see one by one. Land. Okay, now we'll see one by one, that is land. What is land? It's naturally occurring resources, gift of nature. Land is also called natural resources. See, basically, we all know that we have 71% of water in the entire planet Earth. We have remaining is land. So it's something called gift of nature. You cannot create it. You cannot move it from one place to another. You cannot create it. You cannot move it. Okay. So all the naturally occurring resources, that is the gift of nature, and land is also a natural resources. So I hope you got it. It includes or it includes resources which found air, gold is found in the land, forest is on the land, and pearls from the calms is also in the water which is on the land. And the payment method of land is rent. Okay, either we need to purchase it or we need to take it on rent and we need to give the rent. Okay, so it includes resources found, oxygen, gold, forest, and pearls from the calms. Okay, characteristic of land. See, as I discussed earlier, land is fixed in supply. Okay, you cannot create it. It has no cost of production as it is naturally available, and it's geographically immobile. You cannot move land from this place to this place, not possible. So these are the characteristics of land. Different types of land. Let's have an example. Let's have a look. It's recreational land, seashore, playgrounds, museum, theaters, stadiums. Then extraction land, where you find gold, coals, agricultural lands, types of land. Horticultural land, gardening, flowers. Residential, mostly we are looking for the residential lands which are declared residential by the concerned authority, where you can build your own house, you can build your dream house, purchase your house. Then uninhabitable, where no agriculture is done, lack of water, where agriculture cannot be produced. Commercial. Okay, so we have done with the importance of land. We have seen how land is responsible. It is immobile, it cannot be moved from one place to another place, it cannot be created, and the payment type is rent. Okay, now we'll see labor. What is labor? All human efforts, whether mental or physical, that contributes to production. Labor is also called as human resource. Example, nurses, soldier, teachers. And the payment method of labor is wages. Sometimes daily wages, weekly wages, or monthly salaries. No problem. Okay. So all human efforts, whether it's mental or physical, that contributes to production. Okay. For example, teachers are working in the institutes, nurses are working in the hospitals, soldiers on the borders, all comes under the human efforts. Okay, now these all are taking the physical efforts, but the higher authority person like directors, principal, HR are sitting and planning and giving strategies, also putting the mental efforts. Okay, so that also contributes in the production. That are all kind of efforts. Labor is also called as HR, human resource. Okay, example I have given already: nurses, soldiers, teachers, and the payment of labor is called as wages. Okay, now looking into the type of labor, now there are categories. It is categorized on the basis of skills. So unskilled, semi-skilled, skilled, and professional. Okay, so we'll see one by one. Unskilled, little or no formal training is required. Street cleaners. Okay, so if you can imagine the work of street cleaner, he simply has to, with the help of available equipments, he has to clean the streets. No strategy, no planning, no designing, no execution, no formal training is also required. So such kind of labors are coming in the unskilled labors. Okay, now semi-skilled, it requires some formal training. let's have an example of assembly line workers. Okay, assembly line workers or simple the laborers who are doing plastering at the site, construction site, plastering work. It requires some sort of skill. It's not all about putting the mortar on the walls. We require to give it shape. It should have some mechanism, not fully, but it required partial skilled. Okay, and it required some amount of training. Other training, it required some amount of experience. So that category comes under the semi-skilled. Now skilled, it required high level of training. Example, engineer or mason. For example, to get done the layout of the any structure, after engineer is a kind of labor where he is able to read the drawings, can prepare the drawings, and he can even execute the construction work on the base of the given design. Mason, contractor is should be skilled enough. Okay, so this category comes under the skilled things, skilled labors. High level of training, some sort of courses, professional courses need to be completed with some experience. That comes under the skilled labors. Okay, one cannot simply read the drawings and cannot simply start the work, construction work, not possible. So it required some amount of experience and trainings. And then professionals required high level of education and professional qualification, like teachers. Teachers should be postgraduate, teachers should complete PhD, and teachers. Okay, so that is all about the types of labor. Then capital. Okay, now if you have a land, it's okay. If you have labor, but if you don't have a capital, then some things are highly impossible. You cannot go even further. Okay, then what is capital? Capital refers to all man-made resources used in the production process. Capital refers to all man-made resources used in the production process. Example, it includes machinery and equipments. Let's have an example of construction of G plus 10 story structure. And at that structure, you must have a crane to lift the building material from one place to another place, rather from lower to higher altitude, rather from lower floors to top story floors. You must have machine equipments. Okay, so until you must have these machine equipments are highly costly, they are very much costlier. So you must have a capital. Okay, you must have the amount of money to purchase it, though the technology is developing, but few things are highly impossible without the manwork. Okay, that was the significance of labor in the last point we have seen. So capital refers to all man-made resources, all man-made equipment handled by men, okay, used in the process. Then example includes machinery and equipments. Okay, and the payment method for the capital is called interest. Okay, types of capital: fixed capital, working capital, and venture. In the fixed capital, capital that does not change shape during production, that is tractors, machinery. Okay, in working capital, capital that used up during production, that is cash, materials. And venture, capital invested at the startup of the business, that is cash. Every business needs some amount of investment at the beginning, it is called as venture. Okay, this is what you might have heard, I have started with new venture and all the things. So okay, finally enterprise. Okay, what is enterprise? We'll see. This is the ability to combine or organize the other factors of production and to take risk, and also called as entrepreneurship. And the payment of enterprise is profit. Why profit? Because initially you have to invest some money, and by doing the business or by running it, you need to take the profit. That's your earning. Okay, so entrepreneurship, enterprise is the ability or to combine or to organize the factors of production and to take a risk. It's also called entrepreneurship. Okay, every of you want to become an entrepreneur, every of you wants to become the self-made man, self boss. Okay, if you are working in a company when in a 10 employees or 1000 employees or 100 employees, you have a probability of 1 is to 10, sometime 1 is to 1000 probability to become a boss. But if you have a own company, if you have a own enterprise, and if you start your venture, then you have probability of 1 is to 1 to become the boss. That's the difference of entrepreneurship, but it requires a lot of hard work, some initial investment planning, strategic planning, and all the things. Okay, so in the today's class, whatever you have learned, you have to write it down regarding the capital, land, and entrepreneurship and labor, and submit it in our official WhatsApp group. Okay, I will be taking it very seriously, and I will note down those who are submitting. All right. Thank you very much, students. And this is a small topic I need to cover today. It's really very small, but my intention is to thoroughly go through the concept of the factors of production. Question will be asked, and though it is MCQ based examination or regular examination, there will be 100% question based on this topic. 100% question based on this topic. Okay. In the next class, we will be talking about the turnkey projects. What is that and all. Okay. Very soon we will meet. So before ending the lecture, I would like to take quick recap of this entire lecture. Okay. So I'll take a short tour of this entire lecture. Okay. So we have seen factors of production. We have defined it. Okay. It's sometimes HR services and sometimes it is input which define the factors of production. How many factors of production are there? 4. Which one? Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. So land, it is gift of nature, which is naturally available, nor created, nor been moved. Okay, which found oxygen, gold, forest, pearls, and payment is type of payment is rent. Then characteristic of land, it is fixed, not movable. Okay, recreational, extraction, agriculture, horticulture, residential, commercial, etc. Then labor, all human efforts, mental, physical. Okay, soldiers for example, teachers, nurses, types of labor. And the type of payment is wages. Type of labor, skilled, unskilled, professional. I have given an example of street cleaner, engineer, doctor, nurses, etc. Nurse is a comes under the category of highly skilled, skilled engineer, mason, semi skilled, assembly line worker. Capital, initial investment required for machineries. Okay, equipments, payment is interest. Fixed, working and venture, it requires cash. Working, it requires cash material. And fixed, which does not shape it, which does not change its shape. Entrepreneurship is, it's all about the ability to combine, to organize the factors, production, take the risk, also called entrepreneurship. And payment is profit. Thank you very much, students, for the patient listening, and I hope you have understood the small topic. And very soon we will be meeting with another lecture based on turnkey projects. And thank you very much.